Yeah, I mean, the hits keep coming in the Mountain West. There's just opportunities and great teams everywhere you turn, and we've talked about that a million times. It's just they're playing they're playing great, and we're all playing for something, and it just makes for these fantastic games.
I know the chips fall how they do, and you'll worry about the bracket and all that next week. But in terms of game times, quality opponents, I mean, is there a big difference between the 2 and the 3 seed?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, you think you have that all figured out, but there's some years when I really perused it and tried to figure it out, and I haven't even looked this year. It's just such a battle to compete, and we had to recover from the game that we just had, and so I don't really even know that. I mean, we just got one big game in front of us, and we'll go down there and compete our tails off.
What makes Utah State unique? Everybody in this league seems to bring something different to the
Yeah.
table. What makes them unique?
Just their versatility, and everyone can shoot, everyone can dribble, everyone can pass. They bring such a challenge that way because they're so fast at home, and they play so good there historically, and then this team certainly does too. They can, they've had some tremendous moments there, and I expect them to play a great game, no doubt.
You guys, for the past 2 years, have been so good at bouncing back. You haven't lost back-to-back conference games in that span. What would you chalk that up to?
Probably the character and the culture and the guys that they if there's problems, they fix it, and there's always going to be problems. You gotta address them. I always tell them your issues are your issues until you fix them, and these guys fixed. And the glaring one was the rebounding at San Jose. Maybe our worst rebounding game in my career here, and then 3 days later, or however many days later, maybe our best rebounding game. That's the character of these guys.
We've talked a lot about having seen great responses from the team in practice after tough losses. What's the response like after a huge win like Tuesday night? What's that energy?
Yeah, well, it's tough because number one, you had a lot of guys play a lot of minutes, and so the physical response is important. But I think it was beneficial that we had that extra day because there was just so much emotion. I mean, that stretch and these stretches they're there's a lot. And 4 games in 9 days with travel and all the stuff you go through, and emotional games. I mean, you can't have a more emotional game than that San Diego State, and right before that, the New Mexico home game was emotional and intense, and UNLV, and those road games in between. And so that extra day, I think, gives you a little bit to kind of get your breath back, and then on to the next. And I thought I thought our gym energy was good. We're going to take our best, not good. Your good will get you probably blown out if you down there. I mean, they're a great team. There's a reason why the Mountain West is getting the respect it is now, and the national, talk about how many teams, because they're all good, and there's a lot of them, and certainly this is one of the top ones.
You talk about playing an A game, B game, C game. You think the previous matchup with Utah State was one of your A games, and if so, what did you guys think you did better?
Well, in some aspects, it was good. We made some shots, that's for sure. But there's a lot of things we need to do a lot better. And that one felt like it was so long ago. So like we talked about earlier, Bob, that it's been weird. Some teams you play in a 2-week span, and then others it felt like a season ago when we played. So, a lot changes in between those 2 games.
Have you stopped to take a breath yet and realize you're likely in the NCAA tournament, or are the blinders still on?
Pretty good blinders. I mean, who knows until you see your name on that board and until the dust settles. Who knows? You just, I've been through this a lot over the years, and You just control what you can control. And then I think it's one of those things you'll look back and go, and figure all that stuff out later. We got a big task in hand, a big task in hand right now.
Do you think you should be in even a better position than some still have you in? Based on what you
I don't know, because I don't know what some still have us in, but, our numbers certainly indicate, and if you're saying this, if you're talking about the mountain being so good and we're right there at the top, then heck yeah. But I don't know what everyone's saying and all that. But this is a deserving team. We've accomplished some things out there. The win in Texas against Texas A&M, and that ends up being amazing. And just so we've like I said about controlling what you can control. We've done about as good as we can do. We're maxing things out. I know that, and coming away with some pretty good feathers in our cap. And you look at our resume, the games without Shaver stand out, and they're supposed to take that into account. I don't know. I think it just all stacks up pretty nicely for us.
With that said, you saw last year, it all comes down to matchup and like the seeding and all that. But you still have, hopefully 4 games left. Do you feel like that can, in the conference tournament and
Yeah.
and until the big games? But do you feel like you have these 4 games could help you really improve, your seeding / position to put you in a better spot than you are now?
Yeah, I don't know. We don't really approach it that way. It's just the competitive stuff that, that's too much variables, too much. No, I know our guys don't. I mean, they look at that stuff. They know what's going on. We got smart guys. They're masters of information, this group. And so they know probably a lot more about that stuff than even I do. They watch it, look at it, and analyze it, and they know who's playing and what's best for us. If Purdue beats Wisconsin, what's best. But sometimes you think and you don't know on some of these games. It's interesting, but it is. We do have pretty good blinders on for this game. That's it.
Where do you think the team has improved the most since the start of conference play?
That's a hard one. I can't even think back that far, right?
Or just recently?
Yeah.
Anything that stands out? I know there was a lot of early on in non-con. You said you were doing things good, but you needed them to be great.
Right.
Anything you're doing great, in your opinion?
Well, some of the things that that were characteristics of this team early that I knew would help us was our chemistry. We just have, I don't want to say perfect, but near perfect chemistry, it seems. I've never had a possession where I'm like, well, that guy didn't pass there, and this guy should have done that. They just they just play the right way and see the game the right way. So I think that we knew that would probably be a strength of this team, and it certainly has developed as the season went on to be a huge strength of this team.
I feel like every coach says, they want to peak in March and all that stuff, but when you're going through such a gauntlet like you are, it seems like that's more of maybe just a luck thing, and you're just trying to get to March.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you feel like that where you're like, well, I just hope we're playing our best basketball that we get that far?
Yeah, and a big part of that can be health too. You're looking around the country and you see like a crucial guy gets hurt, or and you're like, oh, that's tough for them. So that can hang on a thread a little bit as far as you think you're controlling everything, and then if the wrong guy goes down, that doesn't bode well for teams to peak. But the way we've managed the practices and the season, and would I have loved to have managed a little less minutes in some ways? Maybe, because I think that's an advantage that maybe San Diego State has had throughout the conference, is 9 guys. But I think there might be a flip side to that too. Our guys know exactly how many minutes they're going to play. They know they're going to be out there, and that can be a good thing. You look at that Nevada team years ago, they were playing 6, 7 guys, just like kind of us, and there's advantages to it and disadvantages to it. But I think our guys are mentally and physically fresh right now, and as much as you can be in March.
With that said, even if it's 3, 4, 5 minutes, do you try to tomorrow get some more guys in there and knowing you got 3 games in 3 days coming up next week?
Well, the game kind of tells you usually, and but yeah, I always kind of go in that way thinking, that or with that thinking and try to, because we got guys that are helping us, and if they can go in and help us, that, because there's games we have ran out of gas a little bit, and I kicked myself for I wish I would have got a little bit more here, a little bit more there, and you're always trying to tweak that, and these guys are working hard. I mean, we had what I thought was a great energetic practice yesterday, and so everybody's on board, everybody's ready to go, and yeah, that is something I'd like to be able to do, no doubt.
Is Utah State an NCAA tournament team?
Oh, without question. I mean, because if you just take all there's always bias, but if you take all the stuff out of it and talk about where our league really is and what we've done and how good it is, their body of work, no doubt about it, should be an NCAA tournament, no doubt.